than the results? And what happens when expectation grows faster than performance? Does it create a star or expose a flaw waiting to be tested?
When you play, or even when you're training, do you know that there might be a 5, 7, 9-year-old Filipino that really looks up to you, and maybe they want to be you in 10, 15 times, years time?
Yeah. I mean, I haven't thought about that yet. I try to think about when I was that age, 5, 7, the people I looked up to, Maria Sharapova, of course, Rafa Nadal. So, I think it's a super important, sometimes the first impression that you have of tennis is with the big players. And
Nobody warned Madrid that a storm was landing in designer sneakers and carrying a racket. And yet the moment Alex Eala stepped out, the tournament didn't feel like a tennis event anymore. It felt like a coronation that somehow arrived before the crown was officially earned. What unfolded around her was not normal hype, not routine crowd support, but something closer to a cultural takeover that left even seasoned organizers quietly recalculating what a single player can do to an entire sport.
I've never felt the power of community like this. So Alex lost the first set, but she came back in the second. And then down 4-0 on the third set, but still managed to win the game. That is grit. That's not quitting, even when it's uncomfortable. Watching that match reminded me that, there's always a break coming, and sometimes you just have to be patient long enough to see it. And while everyone was cheering for Alex,
The strange part is that, on paper, this should not be happening. Madrid is used to royalty. The kind that comes with Grand Slam titles, top 3 rankings, and years of dominance carved into highlight reels. Yet here comes a player ranked outside the top 40, walking into the Caja Magica like she owns a piece of it, and the crowd responds as if they have been waiting for her specifically.
Never expected anything like this, sa totoo lang, because syempre Philippines is not really on the map here 6 months ago. Nung nanalo si Alex, and she's getting a really good world ranking. She's doing well in the tournaments. She's beating champions. She's beating world number ones. That's given it so much great exposure for the Filipinos out here. That sometimes nagteten, sometimes but mga barkada kasama, and then they go hit around. But now sometimes some of them will want to teach their children and hone their skills. So when they get older, they might have potential, reaching the same potential as Alex.
This is where the story bends, in a way that makes traditional tennis logic slightly uncomfortable. Alexandra Eala is not just arriving at tournaments anymore, she is reshaping them. Before a single ball is struck in Madrid, the energy around her practice sessions already feels like a main event.
What about these comparisons maybe with Leila Fernandez? I mean, obviously in terms of your game, you're both lefties, you both sometimes take the ball early. Are you familiar with these comparisons, and how do you feel about that?
no, I'm not really familiar with those comparisons, but I think Leila's a great player. Obviously, she did the final in US Open a couple of years back, so she's a trailblazer in her own way. I think I'm not so close with her. We've had a couple of interactions, but she seems like a nice girl, so.
She is out there hitting controlled cross-court backhands under the guidance of familiar figures like Tony Nadal, who watches closely, occasionally stepping in with adjustments that are subtle but precise, the kind that refine not just technique, but mentality. The drills are sharp, deliberate, and clearly built for clay, with an emphasis on patience, angles, and controlled aggression that signals a player preparing for something bigger than just participation. And yet, what is happening off the court is even louder. Fans are not just watching, they are organizing themselves around her presence. Filipino flags appear in clusters, sometimes in sections where you would not expect them, turning parts of the stadium into something that feels less like Spain and more like a global gathering point. And audience engagement, which sounds polite until you realize what it actually means. It means ticket sales spike when she plays. It means merchandise moves faster when her name is attached. It means broadcast numbers climb in regions that traditionally would not be locked into early round matches. Madrid, of course, saw this coming. They prepared for her arrival like you prepare for a headline act, not a mid-ranked contender. Scheduling adjustments quietly ensured that her matches would land in prime viewing windows. Practice courts were suddenly surrounded by more cameras than usual.
Good call.
Manny Pacquiao, we saw him when he, was at the top of his game, and alongside Roger Federer, he actually had more prize money. So I think that if Eala, can keep doing well with her tennis, who knows? The sky's the limit on the court, off the court. I mean, she could be rolling in it, if you will.
Yeah, she's got a smile that lights up a room too, And I remember last year when she beat Iga Swiatek, and she kind of did it with a lot of grace and humility.
Even the social media teams leaned heavily into her presence, because ignoring the momentum around Alexandra Eala at this point would feel like ignoring a trending storm. And yet, behind all the noise, there is a tension that refuses to disappear, because the results do not fully match the scale of the hype. A year ago, she shocked the tennis world with a run that dismantled elite names and forced analysts to rethink her ceiling. Wins over top players like Iga Swiatek and Madison Keys were not just victories. They were statements delivered with precision and fearlessness. That version of Eala looked early exits replaced deep runs, and ranking points slipped away just as quickly as they were gained. Losses, including a tough one to Karolina Muchova, reminded everyone that momentum in tennis is fragile and that one breakout stretch does not automatically guarantee sustained dominance. And yet, none of that slowed down the phenomenon. If anything, it made it more fascinating. Now the question is no longer just about how good Alexandra Eala can be, but whether the sport itself is ready for a player whose impact extends far beyond her ranking. That tension sits at the center of her Madrid campaign, quietly shaping every narrative around her. You can see it even in her practice intensity.
But in the end, this is the job. The job is to be ready again, time and time again. So I'll work to be better. Right now, my priority is to recover.
There is a noticeable edge in the way she approaches drills, a kind of urgency that suggests she is fully aware of the gap between expectation and execution. Her footwork looks sharper, her shot selection more disciplined, and there is a clear effort to eliminate the lapses that have cost her matches in critical moments. That brings us to the moment everyone keeps replaying, the match in Linz where she led comfortably, only to let it slip away. It was not just a loss. It was a reminder that closing out matches is a different skill entirely, one that separates promising players from consistent winners. Against someone like Jelena Ostapenko, those moments matter even more, because hesitation gets punished quickly at that level. City to city. Can the performance catch up to the phenomenon? Because if it does, the implications are enormous. Her potential path through the draw is anything but easy. A matchup against Leylah Fernandez brings not just a competitive challenge, but a symbolic one. A clash of shared heritage and overlapping fan bases that adds emotional weight to every point. Both players understand what that match represents, and neither will treat it like a routine first round. Beyond that, the road only gets tougher.
I think Eala is an absolute godsend for the WTA Tour. She's been brilliant for the publicity, for the profile, the interest she's creating. When we put stories on her on Tennis 365, she just absolutely explodes. She's a major superstar. The problem she's got, I think, is she can get a bit, possibly like Emma Raducanu, we could say that she gets to a certain point in a draw and then suddenly she comes up against a player who's physically bigger and stronger, hits the ball that little bit bigger, and she's just not quite.
Names like Jasmine Paolini and Elena Rybakina loom as potential opponents, each bringing a level of experience and composure that tests every aspect of a player's game. This is the kind of draw that exposes weaknesses quickly, but it is also the kind that can redefine a career if navigated successfully. And this is where Madrid becomes more than just a tournament, because the city itself seems ready to embrace her. From the moment she arrived, there has been an unmistakable warmth in how she is received. Fans are not just reacting, they are anticipating, showing up early, staying late, and treating her matches like must-see events regardless of the round. It is rare for a player to generate that kind of attention that most players only experience at the peak of their careers. It creates a strange dynamic where every match feels like both an opportunity and a test, where the stakes are amplified not just by rankings, but by expectations that have grown faster than her results. And yet, she keeps walking into it, calm, focused, and increasingly aware of what is at stake. Because beneath the hype, the noise, and the commercial conversations, there is still a competitor trying to solve a very specific problem. How to turn flashes of brilliance into a pattern. How to protect leads. How to close matches when the pressure tightens and the margin for error disappears.
For me, it was terrific to see her take that match and watch her play after that and watch her try to continue to progress, because I like her game. Obviously, she wants to get better than where she is now, the 32 in the world, but she's got a lot of good hand-eye coordination and ability to take the ball early and redirect. But the fan stuff is always fun for me, because whenever you see players from smaller countries, the fans are so passionate when they get up.
Madrid will not wait for her to figure it out slowly. It will demand answers immediately. And that is exactly what makes this moment so compelling. If Alexandra Eala manages to align her performance with the scale of her presence, the conversation around her will change overnight. The skepticism will fade, the debates about merit versus popularity will quiet down, and what remains will be something far more dangerous for the rest of the tour. A player who is not just followed, but feared. Until then, every match carries a question that refuses to go away. When the scoreline tightens, when the crowd leans in, and when the moment demands precision under pressure, will she deliver the finish that turns belief into certainty? Every round here comes with noise, expectation, and just enough chaos to expose hesitation. And for Alex Eala, that combination is either the perfect stage for a breakthrough or the worst possible place to hide unfinished parts of her game. The crowd that welcomed her like royalty is still there, still loud, still fully invested, but now their energy carries a different weight, because admiration quietly turns into expectation the moment the first few points are played.
Admirable to see a youngster really step up to the challenge. It looked like she was fading away physically towards the start of that second set, but she fought back, and the fight is something that we're going to constantly see for years to come if she can just keep going on this momentum.
Yeah, she just has an amazing spirit. I mean, the way she fought through that match. And look, it's one thing to win a bunch of big matches in a row. You see the leg taped up. You see her playing a terrific player like Jessica Gould.
And that shift is subtle, but it changes everything. You can see it in the way rallies unfold. Early in matches, she plays freely, taking the ball early, redirecting pace with that signature hand-eye coordination that caught the attention of coaches like Paul Annacone, who once highlighted her ability to absorb power and turn defense into immediate offense. In those moments, she looks exactly like the player who stunned the tennis world not long ago, the version of her that dismantled elite opponents without hesitation. But Madrid does not reward flashes, then technical. This is the part of her evolution that everyone is watching closely, because the tools are clearly there. The forehand has depth and spin suited for clay, the backhand is compact and reliable under pressure, and her movement has improved to the point where she can construct points rather than just react to them. Under the guidance of familiar figures from the Rafa Nadal Academy, her game has been shaped with long-term dominance in mind, not just short-term success.
Wise beyond her years, she's playing great tennis. She was a joy to talk to, and it's great, I think, for tennis that we have this completely new demographic. 5 years ago, I can guarantee you, when you were in the WTA planning meetings, the large contingent of fans from the Philippines coming out with their flags to matches was not part of too many discussions. But here they are, and here she is. And
But structure alone does not win matches at this level. Execution in decisive moments does. And Madrid has a way of dragging those moments into the spotlight whether a player is ready or not. The fascinating part is how the crowd responds when those moments arrive. Instead of tightening the atmosphere, their support often grows louder, almost as if they are trying to push her across the finish line themselves. It creates a unique dynamic where that sees something of itself in her rise, and about a tournament that suddenly feels bigger because of her presence in it. Madrid is not just hosting a player, it is hosting a movement that continues to expand with every match she plays. And yet, the sport remains brutally simple underneath all of it.
we're not concerned about anyone else right now. It's Alex Eala time. This is Alex Eala's moment. Our days, our dinners, our evenings are fixated on when she's playing. That's real tennis fandom right there. Love it.
This is so great for tennis in general.
Yeah.
I think having players like Alex out there, and she's so gracious to all her fans. She spends time with her fans, signs the autographs, takes the photos, and really just shows the Filipino community that it is all about the Philippines. And I still carry that flag with me no matter where I go across the world. And such a young woman at that has that wisdom of just what it means to play.
And for Alexandra Eala, they represent something even bigger. She stops being described as a phenomenon with potential and starts being recognized as a contender with proof. The narrative shifts from curiosity to certainty, from can she to who can stop her. That is how quickly things can turn in tennis. One strong run, one series of composed finishes, and suddenly the gap between hype and results disappears.